Well, as you're watching at home, it looks like a bright, sunny, beautiful Sunday afternoon. It is bright and sunny. It is beautiful. But, Brian, it is extremely cold and very windy, gusting up to 35 miles per hour today.
And that's the deceiving part. Anytime you play in the Meadowlands, the way it's not just the wind itself, but it's the way it swirls. It changes from one end of the end zone to the other. The quarterbacks are going to have to deal with this.
Tom Coughlin, 66 years young, grew up in Waterloo, New York in his 9th season with the Giants. Owns a pair of Super Bowl titles, including last year. And, of course, Andy Reid, 14 years. 5,103 days ago, named head coach of the Eagles. Will this be his final game as head coach? Those 140 wins include the playoffs.
Got to watch David Wilson. He's had some big returns, and they start with an onside kick.
An onside kick that appears to have been recovered by the Philadelphia Eagles to begin the game. And yes, the Eagles have the football. Brandon Hughes, number 27, down the bottom of that pile, and he's the one who covered it up. So how about that if indeed it is Andy Reid's final game to start with a surprise?
And you almost have to figure on this, don't you? Why not? You come in here 4-11, division rivalry against the New York Giants. Why not start with this?
That was Justin Tryon, who had his hands on the football but could not field it cleanly. So Michael Vick and the Eagles come out offensively. Vick playing today for the first time since suffering a second concussion on the year. That was in mid-November against Dallas. Jason Avant on the first down reception. And although Deshaun Jackson hurt, not playing today, there are still plenty of other weapons, and the Eagles are in hurry-up mode.
Interesting. They haven't run a lot of this. You can see in the lineup here, Jeremy Maclin and Jason Avant each had 8 receptions last week against the Redskins.
And around in the hands of Demarcus Johnson, and that's a first down run. Steps out of bounds at the 40-yard line. So an onside kick, a completion, a run, and a first down for the Eagles.
Well, Michael Vick visit with Laura Oakman before, and the wind is going to be a factor today, but you have to know there's almost a grin on Michael Vick's face. Yeah, his kind of ball cuts the wind very well, and it also means maybe I can pull the ball down and run around with it a little bit more.
They remember these two teams met in Philadelphia week 4. Vick and the Eagles came away with a win. You saw the numbers in that game for Vick. Bouncing it to the outside is McCoy, run out of bounds by Jason Pierre-Paul. This Giant defense has just been overwhelmed. In each of their last 2 games, they've given up nearly 1,000 yards of offense.
We talked about Pierre-Paul. Tuck and Umanura last year collectively, they had 14 sacks. So far, they only have 9. Michael Boley's role has been diminished among the linebackers, and Corey Webster was just demolished by the Baltimore Ravens last week.
Well, this entire defense was run over by the Baltimore Ravens last week. 533 yards of offense. Vick fumbled the snap. So that brings up third down and long. Vick started the first 9 games of the year, and turnovers were the primary issue. He turned it over 14 times in those 9 games.
And they almost had one here with a high snap. He did a nice job getting under control, but couldn't get quite back to the mesh point with LaShawn McCoy.
Dallas Reynolds had some issues floating snaps in the shotgun a week ago against the Redskins. So that defense for the Giants, they have not been good on third down of late. Vick overthrows, and it's intercepted by Stevie Brown. His 8th of the year. He crosses midfield. Inside the 40, to the 30, to the 25. And a turnover by Vick puts the Giants in business.
Tom, what did you say coming in? Turnovers, miscues, and the injuries to Michael Vick. It all happened here. You're going to see a 6-man rush. They're not getting home with 4, so they're going to bring the extra guy here, Michael Boley, on the inside. That forces the ball to float just a little bit on Michael Vick. Stevie Brown Obviously an excellent position to get this floater, and then now was able to get a return. Boy, the Philadelphia Eagles take the chance of an onside kick, take emotional control of this game early, only to have it flip right here with the New York Giants now sitting on the 26-yard line.
That is the 35th takeaway by this Giants defense. Brown now tied for the NFL lead in interceptions with Tim Jennings of the Bears. That's his 8th. And he wasn't even a starter when his season began. David Wilson in the backfield behind Eli Manning. And Wilson will get it. And a gain of close to 10 on first down. Stevie Brown, brought in as a free agent, did not have a single career interception in his first 2 years in the league. Kenny Phillips, their starter, was injured against Philadelphia. Brown has been a big part of their defense since taking over that role.
You know, Tom Coughlin made a point of, in their wins, they had always won the field position battle. They didn't start off too good with the onside kick, but they obviously are starting with favorable field position this time.
Wilson once more getting a start. Hynoski leads away, and inside the 5 goes Wilson. They call him Hynoceros. One of the great nicknames in all of football, Henry Hynoski.
Well, you're going to see on the last 2 plays, Hynoski has led up through the hole. Now you get into that second level with a big fullback like Hynoski. Wilson's smart enough to say, you know what, I'll just kind of hang in here and let you take out what's in front of me, and then I'll pull the trigger.
First and goal, just outside the 3-yard line. Wilson, a 3rd straight carry. And he is leveled by Cullen Jenkins, former Green Bay Packer. And this is his 2nd year as an Eagle.
Nice job slicing through. If you're going to stop the running game on the goal line, you got to be able to break the double teams and hit them in the backfield.
Ahmad Bradshaw just standing over on the far sideline watching as Wilson, who had that monster game, especially in kickoff returns against New Orleans. Touchdown to the back of the end zone to Ruben Randle. So after the interception, the big return by Brown. Big runs by Wilson, and capped off the touchdown pass from Manning to Ruben Randle.
And it's those big runs that set up the play action fake. They're allowed to get to the back of the end zone to the 6'3" rookie, Ruben Randle. This is what they like about this guy. Athleticism and size that allows him to go up and get the ball.
Point after is good by Lawrence Tynes. The Giants, a must-win game. Jump in front, 7-0. Ruben Randle, the touchdown reception after the 48-yard return off the interception by that man, Stevie Brown. 37 turnovers this year for the Philadelphia Eagles. 37. Heard Riley Cooper saying, no, no, no. Bryce Brown takes a knee. So Vick will try and regroup after his last pass attempt. Giants out in front, 7-0. You know, you think about the Giants these last 2 weeks, falling behind early. But today they take advantage of a Philadelphia team that's turned it over all season long. Giving up more points off turnovers than any team in the league. Take it one way, roll the other. Selleck. That'll be a gain of 13 on first down for the 6th-year tight end out of Cincinnati. Second on the Eagles all-time list in receptions and receiving yards by a tight end, second only to Pete Retzlaff.
And there again, very much an up-tempo by the Philadelphia Eagles, trying to catch the New York Giants in some defensive mismatches by going in a no huddle or a sugar huddle.
Got an eye on McCoy out of the backfield. Antrel Roll had read that beautifully. He was standing right there. Boy, an interesting conversation we had with Roll yesterday about his team and where they are mentally right now.
He was very honest, saying, you know what, emotionally, we're not where we need to be. We're not good enough to proceed through the playoffs. If we can get this win, we can get it back. But he was very honest about this team doesn't have a lot of confidence right now.
Second down. Escaping Paul out of the backfield as McCoy shifts gears looking for a block. And played nicely on the other side by Amukamara. So third down and long coming up for the Eagles.
I want you to watch all the pressure that comes from the New York Giants. Typically they're a team that says our front four can put enough pressure on you that allows us to do things on the back end. Well, we've already talked about that front four has not been as good. So we've already seen pressure by the linebackers, Boley causing the interception on Michael Vick, and there we just saw Kenny Phillips coming from the nickel position as well.
No Jason Avant on the field for the Eagles. We understand he has gone in for x-rays on his foot. We'll keep you on top of that story. Third down and 10, four-man rush. Vick throws too high. So out comes a punt team led by Matt McBriar. Giants will get the football back, already in front by a touchdown.
And you would expect that from Michael Vick coming off a 7-week hiatus. The sharpness in terms of the throws down the field. The two throws he's made from behind the line, little off mark. When he got outside the protection and rolling a little bit, had a good gain. I think we'll see a little bit more of that out of Michael Vick going forward.
Dominic Hickson stands back at his own 15-yard line. Line drive punt that'll take an Eagles bounce. And they'll spot it just beyond the 25-yard line. That's where Eli Manning will go to work, already in front, 7-0. Hey, Brian, that's a subway stop over on Times Square. That'll be jumping tomorrow night. You hanging around in town for a couple of extra nights?
No, I got to make my LA run, man. I'd love to be watching that ball drop in Times Square.
Quick slant to Ruben Randall. 15 catches this entire year for Randall, but he'll get a lot of playing time today. Injuries have piled up for Hakeem Nicks this entire year. He's played through them.
Boy, talk about injuries. Chris Snee, the Pro Bowler, is back in the lineup. We haven't seen Ahmad Bradshaw yet. A lot of David Wilson, of course. Victor Cruz, the go-to guy. If it's third down, find Victor Cruz.
Snee off to his fourth Pro Bowl, and for Cruz, it'll be his second in a row. First and 10, Manning looking downfield. Punch made by, guess who? You got it, Cruz. Let's check in Los Angeles quickly with a game break.
Houston wins. They clinch the top spot in the AFC, but Indy's got other thought. Andrew Luck hooking up with Coby Fleener and Chuck Pagano, his first game back as head coach after that cancer battle. His team leads at 7-0 in the early going. One of the great stories in the NFL this year, Tom and Brian.
Well, Craig, you're not lying. In fact, Brian, you and I were there in Indianapolis doing the game against Green Bay when Chuck Pagano was diagnosed with cancer. Denied on 2nd and 1, and you had a chance to visit with him right after he had heard the news. Bruce Arians came in. I don't think in our wildest dreams, we didn't give him a chance against Green Bay that week. And I don't think any of us believed at that time they'd be on their way to the playoffs this year.
A come from behind win in that second half, if you remember. And what an emotional time it was in Indianapolis. Bradshaw now checking in. First time we've seen him today. What a great story in Indianapolis. And for Chuck Pagano to be back on the sideline, just fabulous.
Bradshaw, the first down and plenty more. Shot down at the 38-yard line. A 15-yard run for Ahmad Bradshaw, his first carry of the game.
All you got to do is follow Hanaski, and you're going to follow the Giants running game. Look at that. Hat on a hat, just blowing the Eagle defense off the line. Covering up the ball nice and safe. Great way to have a debut run in the game.
Bradshaw 6th on the Giants all-time rushing list this year. Is rushed for a little better than 900 yards, playing through once again foot problems. And of late a sprained knee. Manning looking down the sideline. Randall for a touchdown. Rueben Randall making the most of this start. A pair of touchdowns in this opening quarter. That one from 38 yards out.
Giants said they wanted to go against these corners, even though it's Nnamdi Asomugha here and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. What do we say about Rueben Randall? What do they like about Rueben Randall? He's 6'3". He's a great leaper. He's got great hands. He's still learning what it is to be a receiver in the National Football League, but that'll take him a long way. Eli Manning obviously having the faith that the big man could go up and out-battle Nnamdi Asomugha.
Going after is good. 14-0 Giants. Asomugha and the Eagle defense looking for answers very early today. The New York Giants, their last 2 games against Atlanta, and then last weekend, Baltimore had scored a total of 14 points. They have 14 in less than a quarter so far today. Brown will have a chance to return this one, starting from his 3, and is out to the 22-yard line.
Tom, Friday, one of the best bowl games of the year is on Fox. As Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, right, leads 9th-ranked Texas A&M against the 11th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Looks like the Southwestern Conference champion to me. The AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic is on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox.
Great event. Looking forward to that one. That should be a really, really good game. 74 yards, only 5 plays. Rueben Randall had 1 touchdown this entire year and only 15 catches. Already has a pair of touchdowns today. McCoy run out of bounds at the 27-yard line. That'll be a gain of 5 on first down.
Tom, you talked about the 14 points by the Giants. The most disappointing thing over the last 2 games was the fact they were so many 3-and-outs or turnovers. Everybody talked about, geez, you didn't get Bradshaw in, you didn't play Wilson much. They never had a chance. They were 3-and-out turnovers. Unbelievable. They had 3 possessions in the second half against Baltimore and only 4 against Atlanta. They've already had 2 long drives here today.
Vick dropped at the 24-yard line. Justin Tuck. And a penalty flag is down behind the line of scrimmage. When you only have 4 wins the whole year, a lot of things don't go your way.
Offense number 25. This penalty has been declined. The result of the play, 3rd down.
And penalties would be another area where the Eagles have been very, very poor.
Well, the Eagles are going to have to dig deep here, Tom. The way this game started up with getting the onside kick and then the turnover, the sudden touchdown, then getting driven on the length of the field, the 3-and-outs for a 4-11 team. This is going to test you now, your emotional resolve being down 14-0 in the first quarter.
Blitz coming. Selleck for a short gain, and they'll punt it again. 3-and-out. And we punt to Los Angeles for a game break.
Well, the Bears, one of many teams the Giants need to lose in order to have a shot at the playoffs. Right now, though, the Bears are on top. Earl Bennett takes this little dump pass, 60 yards for the score. Bears lead the Lions 7-3. Of course, if Chicago wins and Minnesota loses later today, Chicago gets into the postseason. Tom and Brian.
All right, Kurt, thank you. Obviously, Giants fans are keeping a very close eye on that one. They need the Bears to lose. They need a loss or a tie later tonight from the Cowboys. They need a loss by Minnesota. And, of course, it all starts with the Giants having to beat Philadelphia to have any chance. Another line drive punt. And rolling inside the 25. So 4:30 to play in this opening quarter. All Giants so far. Early Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Alongside Brian Billick and Laura Oakman, Tom Brenneman, our entire Fox crew from the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. 14-0 Giants. New York with a football from the 25. And the end around, Jarrell Jernigan, second-year wide receiver out of Troy. Nice pickup on first down.
The Eagles, remember, defensively are still in a transition, all but the last game of the season, going from that wide nine defensive coordinator Juan Castillo. Now they're Todd Bowles. You can see their defense here. Trent Cole and Brandon Graham. Pretty good pressure off the edge last couple of weeks. And Asamoah and Rogers Cromartie. We've already talked about how New York felt like they could isolate those two one-on-one and win those matchups.
Wilson covering up that football, and he's dropped right at the line of scrimmage. Colt Anderson, who starts overall for what is a fourth consecutive week. He filled in at free safety for the injured Kurt Coleman for 2 weeks. Coleman came back last week in a big story in that game against the Redskins. Anderson replaced Nate Allen as a starter at strong safety.
And that's what this has been about with this defense, transitioning to different personnel and a different scheme. Tough task. They just haven't quite held up over the last month or so. You said you got to isolate. I'm sorry, Cruz. Always got to know where Cruz is right here.
Third down and 4. Bradshaw checks in from the backfield, and they're looking for him down the sideline. He's got it. Spins away from one tackle and caught from behind by Rogers Cromartie, but not before he's all the way down to the 25-yard line. He beat D'Amico Ryans in coverage.
And that's just one of those sneaky wheel routes out of the backfield. Obviously, they're all focused on Cruz, Martellus Bennett, so they try to get this isolation, and they get it. The linebacker, D'Amico Ryans, on Ahmad Bradshaw. Ryans starting flat, not able to catch up with Bradshaw. 2 big plays by Bradshaw, giving him limited playing time right now.
Well, you're not lying. 1 reception, 41 yards. 1 carry, 17 yards. Heavy pressure by Brandon Graham. Second down and 10 for the Giants. Looking to add to this 14-0 lead. The Bears, by the way, have extended their lead in Detroit. Chicago 10, Lions 3.
As a coach, boy, you hope your players aren't bored watching. I always said, you know what, don't put those scores up. When my team was that situation, I didn't want my players to see it, even though you'd like to have that discipline. Giants said they're going to put it up and just see where it falls.
A little delay to Wilson, and again, huge yardage in the run game for David Wilson. First round pick out of Virginia Tech. They think he's got a chance to be a real good one.
Yeah, they're just gashing the interior of the Philadelphia Eagles line, shoving it right down the middle. Wilson, I tell you what, he does remind you, at least me, a little Tiki Barber-ish, although not from Virginia, this kid from Virginia Tech. But he's got that little bit of wiggle and a little bit more power than you think he has.
Hakeem Nicks checks into the game. Manning looking around, wide open Wilson, and it's a third touchdown pass for Eli Manning.
Basically the same play we just saw that set up the touchdown to Ahmad Bradshaw. You got David Wilson in the backfield. What are they doing? Isolating Bradshaw and Wilson on linebackers down the field in the passing game. Of all the things you thought New York might do to move the ball down the field throwing it, I don't know that the Eagles thought it was going to be with David Wilson and Ahmad Bradshaw.
Hines makes it 21-0 Giants. We've not yet played a quarter. And Manning, 3 touchdowns. 2 to Randall. This one to Wilson. And for him, that's his first touchdown reception in his rookie year. I was surprised Eli Manning told us we asked about Wilson and Eli's thoughts about him, and he feels like this guy can be a 25 to 30 carries back per game, is a better receiver than maybe what he's shown, and obviously pretty athletic and acrobatic to finish it off with that.
He doesn't have the size you might think about on a 300 to 350 carry a year guy, but he's a strong back. And they admire the fact he kind of got in the doghouse early. He had the fumbles early in the season. Kind of got in the doghouse. It's okay, son, you're going to have to learn what it is to be a pro back. But the fact that he stuck with it, Eli Manning talked about that. He liked the way he just went about his craft, continued to work hard, and he really kind of got out of the doghouse by the kickoff returns. You saw it against New Orleans. You saw it in the last time these two teams played. He fought his way back in with nice returns on a kickoff team, and now worked his way into a more consistent role in the offense.
Yeah, that fumble in the season opener right here against the Dallas Cowboys. Wilson was nearly brought to tears after fumbling that football, a season opening loss. All the great seasons for Eli Manning. 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. He has thrown 3 touchdowns in a quarter one other time in his career. That was in 2006 in Seattle.
We talked about Antrell Roll, and obviously Manning said the same thing. Antrell recognized that this team emotionally wasn't there yet, but they could get it. Well, this game right here, this could be just the stepping stone they need to get that emotional edge back.
McCoy, big pickup, cuts it back the other way. Still on his feet, crossing the 40, crossing midfield. And LeSean McCoy run out of bounds at the 44-yard line.
We saw this last week when he got back into the lineup against the Redskins, just to get the ball in his hands, and look what he does. This is just draw it up in the sand. I'll toss it to you. They all go that way. I'll cut back the other way. Look at the jump cuts this guy makes, and then the acceleration. If he can stay healthy, and that's been the issue in his career so far, this guy's going to continue to be a huge impact back.
When you miss as much time as he did this year, you forget all the great things as that one's batted down at the line of scrimmage, and then Michael Vick leveled after he threw it. LeSean McCoy this time a year ago had the 4th most rushing yards in the NFL, 5th most yards from scrimmage. That's Kenny Phillips, who started this season, of course, as their starter at strong safety. Got injured in the first game against Philadelphia. He's only played in 2 games since then. Bryce Brown. And that'll be a first down run. A gain of 13 for the rookie out of Kansas State. There's another guy the Eagles are very high on. Only played a total of 13 games in college. Did not start a single game in college at either Tennessee or Kansas State.
Well, it's a great combination to have the downhill running of Bryce Brown and then that explosive outside running game of LeSean McCoy.
Now looking for cutback room, none there. Linval Joseph right in the middle to stand him up. That'll be the final play of this opening quarter. The Giants knowing they need to win and get lots of help to get back into the playoffs. And they're rolling 21-0. Laura reported earlier on this very frigid Sunday afternoon, the Giants bringing in so many from Sandy Hook Elementary in the Newtown, Connecticut community, and also honoring members from the Wounded Warrior Project. What a fabulous organization that is. Trace Atkins among many, all the great work they do. Eagles on 2nd down and 10. A little bit high, but a catch it should have been made by Jeremy Maclin. Fellow servicemen presenting awards to those in the Wounded Warrior Project. We thank them for their service. Third and 10. Blitz coming. Vick gets it away. A catch, no. In and out of the hands of Avant. Back on the field for the first time. Had to leave early and undergo x-rays on a foot.
What we say earlier, the front fours had trouble getting home, so we're seeing linebackers. We've seen Kenny Phillips come 3 times already. The Giants are committing 5 and 6 and 7 people in pressure on Michael Vick.
On 4th down and 10, trailing 21-0. The Eagles are going for it. They're 12 out of 20 on 4th downs this year, but I don't think many of those have been 4th and 10. Vick steps up, guns it over the middle, and they convert. A 14-yard gain, and the always dependable and sure-handed Avant on the receiving end.
Watch the presence of Michael Vick. We talked about being more efficient in the pocket. He had to wait that out in the face of a heavy rush. Went right down the middle of the field. Always a scary place to be for a quarterback. Nice job. Michael Vick was less worried about the wind because Michael Vick throws a very tight, a very firm ball, and his ball is going to be affected less by the wind than a lot of quarterbacks.
Vick rolling with running room, and we know he can run. Shoved out of bounds by Keith Rivers. Of course, Michael Vick holds the NFL record for career rushing yards by a quarterback, closing in on 5,600 of those. Most rushing yards by a quarterback in a season. In a playoff game, it's a big part of his arsenal.
Tom, we had him in Arizona, and we made the point then he was on target for better than a 100-hit season, and you knew he wasn't going to survive that, and he didn't.
And it's a Brown, who's had troubling tendency so far to cough up the football, and you've talked about it, Brian. 3 of the last 4 weeks we've had the Eagles. Needs to learn to secure that ball a little better, much like Tiki Barber did early in his career and then later in his career with the Giants.
And a young player always worried about changing his style, particularly in the NFL, but it's something he definitely has to address and has been better the last couple of weeks. Of course, the Eagles now, they got a big group in there, extra tackle, big tight ends. This is typical of Michael Vick, might get out around the edge.
McCoy still on his feet and did not reach the first down mark at the 6-yard line. They went on 4th and 10. Will they go on 4th and 1?
Sure they will. Here you're just going to see the defensive line of the New York Giants create that picket fence you talk about defensively. Just no place to go. No cracks in that fence for McCoy to try to get the first down. And you went for it on 4th down before. Why wouldn't you go for it again here? And that's exactly what they're going to do.
Eagles 8 out of 9 on 4th down and a yard so far this year, and 8 of the 9 times they have run the ball. They're not running it this time. And that is a touchdown pass in the back of the end zone to Jeremy Maclin, and the Eagles on the board for the first time today.
Talked earlier, this is where Michael Vick needs to be, particularly in this situation. Get outside the inside pressure, let him make throws outside the protection of the offensive line, just gets to the outside, going to the left, and obviously this is where this guy wants to go, because a left-hander, what the New York Giants want to make sure, if he's going to go outside the protection, make him go to the right, because this is in Michael Vick's wheelhouse, going to the left and throwing the ball.
Lukamara beat by Maclin, and now Alex Henry with a point after, and it is good. Vick, a touchdown for the first time since early November. 11 plays spanning 80 yards. And on a 4th down and 1, Michael Vick throws a touchdown pass to Jeremy Maclin. The wind continues to be a factor here and may be a huge factor before this day is over. Ball blown off the tee.
And we've really only seen the one deep ball thrown to Ruben Randall for the touchdown. Everything else has kind of been in that intermediate area because the long balls you just don't have control of.
Curtis Marsh, like in your backyard when you're holding it for your buddy. Wilson out of his own end zone, and he's across the 25.
Well, let's go back, look at the touchdowns. I think the Philadelphia Eagles, little confusion here. Whatever they did offensively or formationally, you can see they're confused. Stevie Brown still not lined up right. And right now, Amakamura and Kenny Phillips on the left side, this could not have been played the way they thought they were going to. Something about that personnel or formation grouping caught them off guard.
3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. That's one more touchdown than the Giants had the last 2 games combined. Wilson corralled right at the line of scrimmage by Cedric Thornton. We'd love to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, watching today's broadcast in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea on AFN, the American Forces Network. God bless you all. We can't thank you enough for your service. Those that have served, are serving, and will serve the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. So many away from their family and friends during this Christmas and holiday season. And Manning on 2nd down and 9. Looks for Randall once more. A flag down in the secondary. Rogers Cromartie was in coverage. Of course, pass interference calls were a huge story the first time these teams met.
Illegal contact, defense, number 59. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's D'Amico Ryans.
You're going to see it right here as a contacts on Martellus Bennett. This is always tough in inline play with the tight end on a linebacker. No doubt there. I think that violates the 5-yard rule just a bit. Puts Martellus Bennett right there. That's close, though. But no, that's always tough when you're talking about linebackers and tight ends in that between the hash territory.
Alert. Read nothing right. 518.
Bradshaw has had 3 big touches so far in this game. 17-yard run, 41-yard reception, now an 11-yard run. It's a tough guy.
And it's all right down the heart of the Philadelphia Eagle defense. He's going right down in between that A and B gap. Those are the gaps between the center and the guard and the tackle. That's long been kind of the nemesis of the Philadelphia Eagles. Have always been suspect with their interior defense against a strong inside running game.
Well, West Bruce. Yeah, 56 from mine. Oh, set.
Bradshaw, big running room again. That's another 11-yard run, close to 12 yards. Kevin Booth leading the way. He's had a good year at left guard for the Giants.
See it right here, and then followed up by Hanoski, who's having a really good game. You get a big Booth pulling out and Hanoski taking out that edge. Ahmad Bradshaw loving a hole like that. You start him inside, and then you bounce it outside for a big game.
You get a Booth and a Hinoceros.
Just don't ask me to spell all that.
That's David Boss, the center. Comes out of the game quickly to get that right shoe back on. Catch made by Victor Cruz as Jim Cordell came in for Boss, and we'll see Boss right back in there. Let's send it to Los Angeles for a game break.
Not much for the top-seeded Falcons to play for. Tampa Bay trying to end a 5-game losing streak. Josh Freeman keeps the play alive, hooks up with Mike Williams for the go-ahead touchdown. 27th touchdown of the season for Josh Freeman. That's a new Tampa Bay record. 10-3.
The wheels have fallen off Sims. Manning. Near side. Victor Cruz on the reception. It'll be a gain of 7.
Nice job by Victor Cruz. He's done this a couple times now. Kind of does a double move. Shows he's going to go vertical, run it off. Now plant it, come back. That's that timing that Eli Manning and his favorite receiver, Victor Cruz, that subtle nuance of the ball's in the air before he even makes the throw. Or excuse me, before he even makes his break. Always looking for Victor Cruz, and as much as they're running well inside, you know these play action fakes and down the field are coming.
Hey, one word. Lie down. Yeah, Omaha. Oh, set.
Randall, his 3rd catch of the day. The other 2 went for touchdowns, and that one will move the chains inside the 20.
Eli Manning, as we said in the open, was going to try to isolate the outside receivers on Nnamdi Asomugha and Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. It looks like anytime they build anything inside the interior of the defense to stop the run, he's just going to raise up and take this outside stuff against these receivers all day long.
Manning is hit on 9 of 10, 142 yards, 3 touchdowns. That was the 4th catch of the afternoon by Randall.
Oh, set.
Bradshaw having a big day. Inside the 10, very close to another first down. His first carry of the afternoon went for 17. Out of the backfield, a 41-yard reception. And now a couple of more carries for 12 and 14. 4 carries, 49 rushing yards for Ahmad Bradshaw.
And of course, last year was Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs, that 1-2. They let Brandon Jacobs leave. They felt like David Wilson could now bring them that 1-2 punch. And with both of them healthy, this can be a viable running attack if the Giants can find their way back into the playoffs.
Bradshaw pickup of 2, maybe 3 on 1st and goal. For shoving going on, and David Deal, Cedric Thornton, among others, right in the interior.
And interesting, you'd have thought these two teams had faced each other the last game of the season more often, as is typical in the division. Last time these two teams faced each other, the last game in the season was in 2002. And since then, it seems to be, they haven't had that pivotal divisional. Is it the divisional title on the crown for these two guys? That's left to obviously Dallas and Washington right now. But you're still going to see some of that emotion.
Play action, great protection. Incomplete. Dominic Hickson, the intended target. He's looking for a flag that does not come.
Just on the outside, trying to work his way back to the ball. Nnamdi Asomugha, yeah, right there. He's holding him. I don't mind you being there. I don't even mind putting your hands on me, but you can't hold me. Looks like he had a pretty good grab of that jersey right in behind. You can ride your hand on the back of the receiver. You just can't impede the receiver, and it looks like he had a hold on him. Hickson probably had a legitimate argument there.
3rd and goal. From the 7, blitz coming, Manning. The jump ball, a collision in the end zone, and this time the flag comes on Asomugha. Well, I tell you, everybody thought when Asomugha signed, leaving Oakland and coming to Philadelphia, that it was a dream come true. I'm not so sure that Asomugha feels that way anymore. It has been a rough 2 years.
And he got kind of caught there not knowing where the ball was going to be. He was prepared to turn and run, thinking the ball was going to be to the outside, and Randall kind of stumbled into him and didn't break outside as readily and kind of pulls off the pass interference call here.
Asomugha, 3-time Pro Bowler in Oakland, the last coming in 2010.
Giants got the extra lineman here up to the top.
180!
Bradshaw to the end zone. Bradshaw, his 6th rushing touchdown this season.
And that's why they put the extra lineman in there. You got an extra big body, just turning on the outside, leaving the inside open to Bradshaw. Just the kind of physical running attack head coach Tom Coughlin wants out of these Giants.
And where's this offense been for the Giants the last 3 weeks? I asked a question, Brian, before we went to break. Where's this offense been the last 2 weeks? And I guess the easy answer is you're not playing division leaders in Atlanta and Baltimore.
Yeah, but even with that, this is impressive. You're talking about a team in New York that ran 45 and 47 plays collectively in the last 2 weeks. People are saying, well, why don't you go to Cruz more? Why don't you get the ball to David Wilson more? You can't do anything when you're 3 and out and turnovers. We're seeing now that when you don't have those 3 and outs, you've got the balance in the running game with Bradshaw and Wilson. We've seen throws to Cruz. They've gotten Randall involved. They're using all the talent they have because they're not 3 and out, 3 and out, and 3 and out.
You say that like you've seen that before.
A few times. Way too much. That's why I'm sitting in the booth here. That's my nickname, 3 and out Billy.
That one hammered through the end zone. Well then, the boys are back in town and looking good in front 28-7. Happy New Year indeed. Our producer Bob Stenner, director Artie Kemner, our technical producer Bob Muller, all native New Yorkers I might add, our technical director John Howard, audio mixer Jeff Cohen, our associate directors Wayne Wilson and Yvonne Wagner, our broadcast associate Jordan Wolf, and an early happy birthday to Jill Stenner. Watching her husband weave his magic cross country back in California.
That's the best group in the business right there. They've been carrying you and I around for a couple of years.
Especially
now, so
you.
I know. I'm very appreciative of it, believe me. Well, we've got to see how Philadelphia, again, we talk about the emotional up and down in the game. You know, this is what tests you as a pro. You're down to a divisional rival 28-7. Had a pretty good drive. Now can you back it up after having been turned around and had the Giants just run it down your throat as well?
Sean McCoy breaks away from O.C. Umenyiora. Of course, there's some history between those guys. They've gone back and forth, you know, in this social media world we live in on Twitter. At one point, LaShawn McCoy referring to O.C. Umenyiora as Lady Gaga, and then during Mother's Day, O.C. Umenyiora wishing LaShawn McCoy a happy Mother's Day. And they're serious about it.
Yeah, I tell you what, that social media, I'd ban the whole thing. I'd electronically block it from my team.
Hit hard by Chase Blackburn, incomplete.
Yeah, that's one of those throws where Macklin got to come back to the quarterback and say, hey, man, did you not see Chase Blackburn? You got to not take me in there because I don't see him. I'm looking at you. That's where quarterback's got to protect his receiver just a little bit.
2nd and 10. Blitz coming. They pick it up. And then Vick misfires. He had an Oakland Macklin. Would have been very close to a first down. Instead, it's 3rd and 10.
And Vick had to get the ball out pretty quick. This is kind of a catchable ball. It looked like Macklin thought the ball was going to be inside a little bit more. And again, right here, the New York Giants bringing 5 and 6 guys virtually on every snap to try to put pressure on Michael Vick, force him to make the early throws.
4-man rush this time. Good protection and a good throw. The first down. Avant to the 44. A little more than midway through the second quarter. Michael Vick has not played in a game since mid-November. And Brian, your impression so far?
Well, solid. We knew there'd be some rust. We thought I'd see a little more outside the pocket as he kind of holds it, waiting to read it out, trust his reads a little bit, maybe pull it down and run the ball a little bit more. But he's continuing to try to make those throws from within the pocket.
McCoy The running room, that'll be a pickup of close to 13 on first down. Evan Mathis, not named, nor was any other Eagle for that matter, the Pro Bowl. Many felt like he should be going.
He's been very solid, and obviously a rotating line for the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas Reynolds has been in there for Kelsey since the second week. This offensive line obviously has been under constant, beginning with Jason Peters, right in training camp, and then Harriman. So it's been in transition. Mathis probably deserving of at least that recognition, but he's been the lone bright spot of that offensive line.
Brian, I wonder your thoughts. Pro Bowl teams announced earlier in the week, and Jeff Saturday, who's had a great career. Jeff Saturday might go to the Hall of Fame. By no means do I disparage anything he has done. He lost his job as a starting center in Green Bay, yet he's named to the NFC Pro Bowl team.
And you know how it goes, Tom. You get a little bit of a reputation, all but deserved. I had obviously one of the great ones, Jonathan Ogden, who was just a perennial Pro Bowler, but I remember one year when he didn't play, but half the season got in. He kind of felt bad about it, a little sheepish about the recognition when it came his way.
Vick's going to pick up a first down. Penalty flag in the secondary. Thrown at the 15-yard line.
And this is what we thought we'd see more of Michael Vick outside the pocket. We'll see if it is defensive holding or pass interference. That's what caused him to pull the ball down.
Illegal contact, defense number 21. This 5-yard penalty would be added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
Kenny Phillips.
And here's what I'm seeing. Again, you're going to see pressure not only from the front four, but Williams from the linebacker position. Right now, it doesn't look like the Giants, as well as they're playing, are getting much pressure on Mike Vick unless they bring that 5th and 6th guy. Nor are they really stopping the running game when they go light in that proverbial box and play with a soft secondary. It's when they load the line of scrimmage with the linebackers in the secondary when they're getting pressure and stuffing the run.
Vick forced out of the pocket and still makes a throw. The catch made by Riley Cooper. And Vick slow to get up, but does get up all the way back at the 24-yard line. That was Umenyiora. You talked about this defensive front, the way they played at the end of last year, piling up all the sacks. They've had great careers, especially the trio of Umenyiora. 3 very good years by Pierre Paul. We know about Tuck in his 8th year out of Notre Dame, but that trio has 1 sack combined since the middle of November. 1. McCoy for a half yard.
Tom, we talked about earlier in the season the hits on Michael Vick. Even if it didn't lead to a sack, we did this game against Arizona. Pittsburgh just demolished him. The cumulative hit on Michael Vick, you knew he was not going to finish the season that way. Obviously, you can see here, has been out the last 7 weeks with the concussion. Obviously, that has been an issue. Not an issue in this being the last game of the season. He doesn't care what he has to do. He wants to show he belongs to the NFL.
Update, not good news for Giants fans. Chicago now a 17-3 lead over the Lions. If the Bears win, the Giants will be eliminated. Blitz coming. Vick stands in the pocket and misses a wide open Demarcus Johnson in the end zone.
That's the rust we talk about here. You can see the ball just a little high. I talked about the firm ball that Michael Vick throws that helps in this kind of wind, but it's firm and flat. When you're down in here, that can be a tough catch. That was just a little bit high. It doesn't take much to be off, particularly down here in the red zone when you've got to cut through the wind with a flat ball.
Alex Henry, 28 yards out. From the beginning. It looked like a mishandled snap. 28-7 Giants.
Well, we said it was windy in the end zones, but the wind had nothing to do with this. Snap gets down quick enough. He just flat missed it. Did Alex Henry. That had nothing to do with the wind, had nothing to do with the snap and the hold. Nice drive by the Eagles, and they come up empty-handed.
Only 4 misses all year long by Henry, and all 4 wide left. But that one was just ugly. There's a difference between a miss and ugly. Ahmad Bradshaw on first down. Up to the 35, clock running in 1:40.
Just a nice job pulling by the guard Booth. Opens up the inside trap play, and Ahmad Bradshaw getting some nice lanes to gash the Philadelphia Eagles.
And then slipping through the fingertips of Randall, a penalty flag behind the line of scrimmage.
Illegal use of the hands to the face, defense number 97. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Wow, this one probably could have called either way. You see Chris Snee back in the lineup after being a little injured, just pushing and shoving. The fact that he looks like he had a hold of his breastplate as opposed up to the face mask.
The first down. Talked about the Giants offensively. Last 2 games, a total of 19 possessions and only 2 touchdowns. A possession on each of their A touchdown on each of their 4 possessions so far here today.
Eli Manning, we talked about to start, the completion percentage, the touchdown interception ratio, the third downs. Obviously, he's got it going here, coming up with the big plays, doing an excellent job on third down. Has 2 big plays to the running backs. He's using all his receivers. This is the Eli Manning we saw make a Super Bowl run last year. They'd love to make that thing this year, obviously getting to the playoffs, but right now the Bears are on top 20-3, looking kind of bleak for the Giants. Just looking across the middle here, this is obviously should have been caught. Always difficult for a quarterback, the normally reliable Victor Cruz.
Really amazing what Victor Cruz has done these last 2 years. I mean, he was one of the last players to win a roster spot with the Giants before that 2011 season. Wound up with almost 1,600 receiving yards, went to the Pro Bowl, and he's going back again this year. Manning rolling, and just throws it deep down the field with an eye on Bennett, and it's incomplete. So the Eagles with 1:01 left until halftime, and all 3 of their timeouts will get the football once more.
And if I'm Tom Coughlin, you know, it doesn't matter what's going on in the other games. You've obviously played very well. You're up 28-7. You don't want to start looking sloppy, and that not only because of the fact that it doesn't look good. That's when you get guys hurt, and right now it looks like the Giants have maybe lost a little bit of that emotional edge.
Well, it's a dangerous catch by Johnson, but he hung on. And Justin Tryon in coverage. Good coverage. All right, we're 52 seconds away from halftime. How about it, Kurt Menefee?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Show, we'll get you all caught up on the action and how it affects the playoff picture. Are the teams that need to win winning? Will the teams that need help get that help? We'll try and put the playoff picture into focus on the Visa Halftime.
I don't know. That looks a little blurry to me. Kurt needs a little
There's
work
a lot on
the
Sunday
now
morning.
These guys are cameramen. These guys they ain't going to be blurry.
Better believe it.
They are the best in the business right here.
Travel with this group every single week. The best indeed. It's a privilege and an honor to be with each and every one of them. They're going to roll. Short throw. Gain of 3 on first down to Macklin. All right, Brian. I know we have a long way to go here today. Obviously, the Giants are leading big, but we talked about all the help they would need to get a win in this game, and then needing the Bears to lose. They're winning 20-3. needing Minnesota to lose later this afternoon here on Fox. Vikings hosting the Green Bay Packers. And then the big one tonight in the nation's capital, the Cowboys and the Redskins. Selleck just runs right through a hit made by Phillips.
The receiver was
He's up
ruled
close
down
to
by
midfield.
contact.
This is a nice throw, just dropping it in behind Chase Blackburn. Now the question is, was his knee down? Looked like it was. But still, now this changes the formula with 37 seconds left. You are now in a position, we see Stevie Brown on the ground.
He was the guy Selleck ran over.
Now you've got a much more realistic chance with 37 seconds and 2 timeouts to see if you can get a scoring drive here to finish the half.
As you look at the Redskins and the Cowboys later on tonight, Brian, your thoughts on that one? That's a huge game.
It is. Well, which Cowboy team are we going to get?
You tell me.
We've had, well, if I knew that, I'd be a wealthy man. Washington feels like a team that has that confidence. I worry about that Dallas defense. We've talked about them being gutted down the middle. Well, now if DeMarcus Ware is not 100% on the outside, what Washington is going to be able to do against that defense, then of course it's always Tony Romo. Is it Tony Romo that can step up and slice you up? Although the defensive group of Washington has looked very good as of late.
Blitz coming. That's only a gain of 5. 32 seconds left, and the Eagles will call timeout.
This is a 30-second timeout.
Much has been made, even going back to the middle of the year. We saw the Giants get hammered in Cincinnati before the bye week. The strong starts during the 9 years of Tom Coughlin. You look at these last 2 seasons, 6-2, 6-2. Lost 5 out of 7. They won their final game to get in last year. And of course, rolled through the playoffs, beating New England in the Super Bowl. Will they get in this final day today? They're doing their part, but the Lions are not helping the Giants right now, trailing Chicago 20-3. Good coverage, and this time it is Kenny Phillips.
Third down, always the key, and Michael Vick trying to operate within the pocket. There he throws a pick early. Stevie Brown, kind of a sidearm shot there, wasn't able to convert on the third down, and then that missed an opportunity not only for conversion, but for a touchdown that also then now had the missed field goal. So third down, operating from within the pocket has not been good for Michael Vick.
Good protection this time. And falling down as he cut toward the sideline was Johnson. That's incomplete. 4th down, and the Eagles debating, or so it would appear, going for it at midfield on 4th down. 23 seconds left. Should they fail to convert, obviously you're giving the Giants a chance to get into field goal range.
Yeah, where normally the half would be pretty much over, but you're down 28-7. You're 4-11. Yeah, go for it on 4th down. See if you can make something happen.
2 out of 2 today, including a 4th down and 10. Blitz coming, and Vick just lost it to Macklin, who caught it, but short of a 1st down.
Nice timing by Will Hill here. You're going to see with the ball floating. This is one of those you're almost hoping for the penalty. Because how do you tackle a guy in the open field in the NFL today without bringing a penalty about? But nice timing, good aiming point, the target below the head, nice clean hit, and forcing the turn or the change of possession now and giving New York an opportunity now to tack a couple points on at the end of the half.
17 seconds left. Giants have 3 timeouts. New York leading 28-7. Blitz coming after Manning. He gets it away to Dominic Dixon, and he's got blocking in front of him. Run out of bounds inside the 30. They'll spot it at the 24-yard line.
Well, this defines the concept of all or nothing, with the Philadelphia Eagles bringing the house in this situation, hoping to get to Eli Manning, and instead he gets the ball out and it turns into a big play that now with 3 timeouts is going to give you plenty of time not just to think field goal, but they're thinking touchdown right now.
Eli has already thrown for more yards in his first half than he had in either one of the last 2 games in Atlanta and Baltimore. Great protection, and there's Cruz. .24-yard touchdown reception. And then the stamp at the end, a little salsa dance. He lost his grandmother early in the season. She was the one who taught him how to dance.
Eli Manning, you can see in the eyes, where in the world is Victor Cruz? Colt Anderson just ending up in the wrong place, underestimating the ability of Victor Cruz, and I don't know how you do that, to get in behind you in the back of the end zone. Boy, if there's one guy you're going to double and triple of the New York Giants, it's Victor Cruz, particularly in the slot position right here. Brandon Boykin passes him on to the second level. And look at the way Colt Anderson jumps inside. He must have thought he was going to run a deep in route, but to let Victor Cruz nod you and get in behind you in that situation, that's just a major mistake on the part of Colt Anderson.
Talked about that dance. They had some youngsters with the Make-A-Wish Foundation out to the Giants practice on Friday. Victor lost in a salsa dance-off to one of those youngsters. What an unbelievable story. Cruz has. It really is amazing when you think that in 2010 he's a special teams guy, college free agent, of course out of UMass. First 4 games in his career, didn't have a single catch, and wound up being a receiver with the most catches in his first 25 games as a Giant than any receiver they've ever had.
You think about all the time and energy and money in this league that we spend trying to identify talent, and you think it just shows you in this league. That's what's so great about it. All the busts that come out of the first round when the collective brain trust of the league, and then a guy like this literally on the street having the kind of career he's having now. It's great. It's what this league's about.
Bert, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy, and the gang bring you up to date on the Visa halftime. 4 seconds. Took the Giants all of 13 seconds to score. Brandon Boykin will bring it out. That'll be the way the first half comes to an end. So the Giants coming off 2 very ugly losses, knowing they would need a lot of help and that they would need a win to have any chance to defend their Super Bowl title from a year ago. A 35-7 halftime lead, and Visa halftime report is coming up right after this. Randall for a touchdown.
We don't even have to try. It's always a good time.
A lot of celebrating going on through the first half for the New York Football Giants, leading 35-7 after scoring 14 points in their last 2 games combined, being overwhelmed by Atlanta and last week in Baltimore. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. All right, Brian, if you're Andy Reid, your team's getting kicked around 35-7. It's the last game of the year. Many believe this will be the final game as head coach for Andy Reid after 14 years with the Eagles. What do you say to your guys at halftime?
Well, you got to dig deep. You got to be all about being a professional. He's had to deal with this the last half of the season about who we are, what we're going to do going forward. But you're going to have to dig deep here. Tie into all the emotion you can against a division rival right here beginning with this series to see if they can find something to emotionally stay in the game.
Well, they get a good return by Brandon Boykin up to the 31-yard line. Let's check in along the sideline. Hello, Laura Oakman.
Well, you gentlemen wanted to know what Andy Reid said. I cannot tell you because for 14 years he has not talked when trailing at halftime. That continues for this game. I asked Tom Coughlin, what's the difference? What have you been doing today that you haven't been doing offensively the last 2 weeks? He actually laughed and said, if I knew, I would write a book. He said, really, it's been execution. I've said it all along, if we can execute, we would be able to drive down the field and punch it in. That's what they've been doing. He told them at halftime to keep doing this for 4 quarters. We haven't been able to string it together, and he wants to see that. Tom, I'll finish in a second.
Out of the backfield, McCoy. And Ms. Oakman, please continue.
So he said to them, we haven't had a full game. I want to make sure we see that. I asked him if he said anything about scoreboard watching. He said he did not. I can tell you every player I talked to before the game said they would not be looking, except Victor Cruz, who was the only honest guy who said, I will be peeking. But after watching them a whole halftime, they haven't been peeking. They've been watching that scoreboard the whole entire half.
Laura, I commend you for getting through that entire report without stumbling around, standing on that sideline. I know for a lot of people watching at home, they have no conceivable idea about how brutally cold you must be down there on that sideline. Bless your heart.
Do you think I'd ever complain about
No,
this?
I know you wouldn't. But I had to point it out. I mean, there are a lot of fans here. You look around the stadium, a lot of them are getting out of here. This wind outside the stadium was gusting up to 35, 40 miles per hour. Wind chill's got to be, what, 15?
Yeah, and if you're in the shadows, it is cold. Yeah, I'd be moving to some of those empty seats in the sun.
Good start to this opening drive of the second half. That's a forward pass. That is a forward pass. Incomplete. And now some shoving going on at the line of scrimmage. Antrell Roll right in the middle of all that. It looks like big King Dunlap. Look at the King.
Yeah, and if I'm Antrell Roll, I'm going to find somebody else to go after. That's a bit of a mismatch when you're talking about King Dunlap, all 6'8", 310 pounds of him. But this is the emotion we talk about on both sides. The frustration of the Philadelphia Eagles, that scoreboard watching that Laura referred to with the Giants watching as Chicago leads Detroit right now. And this is just, wow, boy, one of the officials went down. You better hope that that Tony Corrente gets knocked down. That's strictly accidental, or there are going to be some fines levied with that.
Well, we always saw the part of it where
At the conclusion of the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 65. This penalty occurred after the play was over. It will be second down after measurement of the penalty.
we only saw from the time Roll got up and started swinging at Dunlap. Apparently, the penalty occurred before all that.
And it all starts right back in here. I don't know what sent Corrente to the ground, what interaction with Dunlap actually coming in. It was kind of hard to see who did what first.
Yeah, and I stand corrected. That penalty you saw came in afterwards.
We're going to add to the penalty unsportsmanlike conduct number 26 on the defensive team. As these are both fouls that occurred after the play, they will offset after the play. It will be second down.
Yeah, based on what we saw, and we've got the replay. Of course, they're not looking at even the replay, but who did what first? So the proverbial offsetting penalty. They're jawing at something here, and then all of a sudden, yeah, see, that's pedestrian. King Dunlap just kind of stepping in towards Roll, and that's what sent Tony Corrente to the ground. So I commend the officiating crew sorting it out, making sure it didn't explode into something more, and not throwing anybody out, because that was just kind of a he said, she said type of situation.
All right, second down and 10. Screen to LaShawn McCoy. And Blackburn stayed right with him. That ends up being a gain of 3. So third down and 7.
Screen game, something we haven't seen a lot from Philadelphia today. They're so good at it. There's very few teams, very few coaches more committed to the multiple screen game than Andy Reid, Marty Morningwig by the Eagles. Another third down play, and Jason Pierre-Paul right in the middle of the defense.
McCoy cuts it back to the inside and very close to a first down. Needed to get to the Giants' 47-yard line. I mean, he is right on it.
And they're going to have to measure this one. I think the chains are on the opposite side of the field. Nope, they're calling it first down. And you can see right here, obviously, the turnover was a big one because it led to a score. Philadelphia's actually moved the ball fairly well, but the New York Giants has just been chewing up the time of possession, and more importantly, the time of possession has led to scores.
Dion Lewis, we saw him with a touchdown run from 17 yards out against the Redskins last week. Infrequently used second year back out of Pitt. You know, we talked so much about, or will talk more the last couple of weeks about Andy Reid and his plight, and Jake Lazier reporting today his conversation. We talked with Andy Reid yesterday, so too did Jay. And Andy Reid doesn't want to go there. That's his quote, talking about thinking what could occur after tomorrow, scheduled to meet with the owner, Jeffrey Lurie. Vic looking for Riley Cooper. And Cooper's the one who had to knock it away. Well, we'll talk more about Reid as his second half progressive, but what about Michael Vick?
You can just see, basically, this is just a hope and a prayer on the outside. We talked about Corey Webster just being targeted play after play last week by Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens. They're giving him help over the top with Kenny Phillips. They said they did have to help out Corey Webster. They're doing it there, and you can imagine more of that. New York being up 35-7 is going to be a little passive in the secondary. Kind of hard to get those big plays down the field by Michael Vick and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Quick chase from behind. Newman York couldn't get him the first time and closes in to drop him at the 40-yard line.
There again, we talked about being hard to get the ball down the field. Good coverage over the top, playing a lot of two deep. Now you look on the strong side. They're jamming up Selleck off the line of scrimmage. He's not going to be a factor. See Macklin trying to work across the field, all but with a linebacker on him. Michael Vick has to pull the ball down, trying to get the first down with his legs.
Matt McBriar set to punt it away. Dominic Hickson stands inside his own 10, end over end punt. And into the end zone. Giants get the ball for the first time in the second half. (35-7). The Giants in front of the Eagles. Opening minutes of this third quarter. David Wilson got the start today and has had an outstanding game. And that's a gain of close to 14.
This is a nice little wrinkle here. They start the pitch play. He goes all the way to the left, and this is designed cutback all the way back to the right. Kind of a little bit of a change up, a misdirection. Their game plan today has all been downhill, downhill. That's the first little bit of trickeration we've seen all day.
Giants have 22 first downs in this game. That is more than they had the last 2 weeks combined. We continue to come back to that and all the problems they had. But again, you're talking about two really good teams. And it makes you wonder, you know, the Giants are roughing up on a struggling Philadelphia team. And after watching the last 2 weeks, and Antrell Roll said it himself, it's not you and me talking about it, Brian. You know, you really wonder after watching the way they played against two teams going to the playoffs, are they ready for that right now to play that kind of team?
And they may not have that opportunity with the Chicago still up on Detroit, but this is the kind of game that they might have been able to build on with that emotion, having the kind of game that they're having today. Complete offensive game, good pressure by the defense. This could have, and might still be, a nice stepping stone for what you're talking about.
Wilson off the right side. That'll be a gain of 2.
You know, with the offensive explosion they're having today, Kevin Gilbright's done a great job for a number of years here with the Giants. I always wonder why you don't hear his name more when it comes time, and we're coming up on that season when there'll be head coaching changes, and this guy has been a head coach. Obviously didn't go well in San Diego, but this is a name that you may hear a little bit about. He's been very good here in New York.
Why do you think that is, Brian?
You know, I don't know. The situation Detroit, when they failed so miserably there, it got a little volatile down there. Ryan Leaf was their pick, and obviously that blew up in their face.
San Diego.
In San Diego, excuse me. And I don't know. I don't know why Kevin's name hasn't been surfaced a little bit more. He certainly has the pedigree.
Picks in a first down catch close to midfield.
Kevin's a good coach. He's been in a long time, been around some good coaches. Obviously a big part. He has been here from the beginning with Eli Manning. He was originally the quarterback coach, so obviously he deserves a little credit for what Eli Manning has been able to do in his career.
Well, we mentioned Jay Glazer's name earlier during the pregame show today. Going through a number of head coaches and 3 categories: safe, out, and maybe. Only 3 coaches he labeled as safe. Incomplete. Asamoah in coverage of Cruz. On his final Sunday, lots happening around the NFL with playoff implications. How about it back in Los Angeles?
Tom, Texans, Colts, Arian Foster for Houston right up the gut. That's his 15th rushing touchdown. Now, Houston has never won in Indy, 0-10 all time, but a win on this day, week 17. Well, they clinch home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. It's 14-13 in the third. Back to Tom and Coach Billick.
A lot of interesting moving parts. Thank you, Patrick, in that AFC playoff picture. Not a drama of who's getting in because all those teams have been decided. Second down and 10, no gain on the give to Bradshaw. Talked about how cold it is here today in New York. Wind chill says 22. I'm not buying that. You?
No, it feels worse than that.
It sure does.
And I'd be remiss. I've got to jump in here and wish my bride of 33 years, Kim, happy birthday. Her birthday today.
Happy birthday indeed.
As beautiful today as the day I married her.
Well, why not? Let's all join the party. My wife had a birthday 3 days ago.
Fabulous.
So, Holly, happy birthday to you. Belated. Victor Cruz trying to get open. And is that a fumble? No signal given. Looked like the Manning was already down. Philip Hunt applying the pressure.
Just a good move inside.
He was down. Looked like.
The knee may have been down when it came out. Right there, knees down, the ball still secured. Good call.
Hunt's an interesting story. That was a guy they brought in as a free agent. Played 2 years in Winnipeg. Had 16 sacks one season up there in the Canadian Football League. Not a lot of playing time this year with the Eagles after a great training camp. Johnson, nowhere to run. Zach Diassi down there to get him. Little emotion has arrived in the Meadowlands as they put up on the scoreboard. Once down 20-3, the Detroit Lions have scored a pair of touchdowns, and don't look now, Brian. But that Chicago lead is down to 3 points. We check in on it back in Los Angeles.
Yeah, Tom, let's show you how it happened and what are getting those Giants fans kind of excited. Matthew Stafford, Will Heller, 10 yards, indeed, 20-17. Of course, the Giants need theirs to lose, and also Minnesota and Dallas. Tom and Brian.
Well, Will Heller, thank you very much, Patrick, with a touchdown reception. 6:31 to go in the third quarter there. And nowhere near Riley Cooper was that pass attempt by Vick. Third down and 9.
Well, the players may not be watching the scoreboard, but the fans are. You could tell all of a sudden it was a buzz around the crowd, and they saw that score in Detroit coming up. A minute ago, you talked about Houston. How about that? They could go from the #1 seed to the #3 seed. So still a lot of football being played this afternoon.
Get it away on his 3rd and 9. Cooper wide open, and Vick finds it. Up to the 38 and a first down.
Well, we showed you where Riley Cooper was. He kind of, as of late, has been a guy, obviously, with Nick Foles prior to Michael Vick coming back, but he's a big receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles compared to some of the speed guys they have. Riley Cooper, every bit of 6'3", kind of a good go-to guy, easy to find in the middle of the field when you've got that size.
Reception made by Johnson. That'll be a gain of 9. Riley Cooper was also a very, very good baseball player at the University of Florida. Some felt he could have played either professionally, much like Jeff Samardzija, the great wide receiver out of Notre Dame a number of years ago. Samardzija decided to go the baseball route, and now a budding, very, very good pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. Shooting through the gap, Blackburn, and he drops Brown behind the line of scrimmage.
And this is what we talk about bringing the linebackers, being able to stop the run with just the front 7. That has been the hallmark of the New York Giants when they are very, very good. They have suffered that way just a little bit, not being able to hold up against the run or getting pressure on the quarterback without building that proverbial box. This is a good sign on this defense if it can continue to build on this.
McCoy for the man to beat. He went by Webster to get a first down. Boy, it's been easy to forget McCoy after having that concussion. You don't see him for over a month. But man, now that he's back, there's a lot to like.
And this is a good call by Marty Morningwig and the Philadelphia Eagles when you get that inside pressure I'm talking about, and it's coming on almost every play now with New York. Get the ball outside quick.
On midfield, Lewis up the middle. That'll be a gain of 8 for Dion Lewis, tackled by Kenny Phillips. 20-17. Chicago still in front of Detroit. If you're just tuning in, the Giants must win to get into the playoffs. They also need losses by the Bears, who are leading Detroit by 3. They need a loss from Minnesota. They'll play at home later against Green Bay, and they need a loss or a tie by the Cowboys, playing in Washington tonight, and that's a first down for Lewis to the 37.
You talked a minute ago, Tom, about New York kicking themselves maybe for missed opportunities. That's why when people say, boy, this is a big game or this is a must win, you know what? The games September and October are big games and must win as well, because you don't know what the consequences necessarily are. They're more apparent in the games in December and late November, but you know when you have those losses, and they had some tough, tight losses early in the season, you know they're going to come back and cost you.
First down, Vick looking for Macklin in the end zone and batted away after being kicked around last week by the Ravens, the media, and the fans. That's good coverage by Corey Webster.
And it is good coverage, and on a bunch of the plays last week against Baltimore, he had pretty good coverage. He just wasn't able to finish. Here, he was able to finish. Macklin not able to go over the top and try to pull the ball out away from it. Corey Webster fighting it through the end without the help over the top, so that was one-on-one. There he finished compared to what we saw last week against Baltimore.
Blackburn had a hold of Vick, who just did get it away. Ryan, you've been around a long time. You know, Corey Webster's been a good player for this Giants team for 8 years. Part of 2 Super Bowl title teams. Starter virtually every game since his 2nd year. You have a bad game last week like he did against the Ravens, and everybody says, run him out of town. This guy's been a very good player.
And you can see there, other than that open field miss there against Ray Rice, he had good coverage, but it's all about finishing, and you're right. It's all, what have you done for me lately? Well, lately meaning that last play, pretty good. Lately meaning last week, not as good.
Damaris Johnson inside the 25, and that is a first down reception.
You're going to see Vic climbing the pocket. Now, what we say, they have to bring 4 and 5 or 5 and 6 guys. They only brought 4. When they only bring 4, they haven't been able to get home. They need to bring the linebacker. They need to bring the secondary. And we've got a late flag now.
Yeah, that play's coming back.
That was interesting because the flag did not come early. It's almost like they had to discuss it. I don't know what they had to discuss. Still don't know who it was against. And we're assuming it was for a late hold. Right here is where you can see it. Got a hold of that jersey on the inside. Clearly got a hold of Jason Pierre-Paul. They've been moving Pierre-Paul inside a little bit more, trying to match him up against guards.
And now Webster out of the game. They're looking at his right arm, it appears.
Pierre-Paul on the inside again.
Timeout, Philadelphia. This is their first.
35-7, Giants in front. Michael Vick started the first 9 games of the year. Suffered a concussion in that game against Dallas in mid-November. Has not played until today since. Third down, Vick runs right into the tackle and is able to break away. Tripped up by Mathias Kiwanuka. Under 2 minutes in the third. Why not call Star NFL right now to download NFL Mobile for only $5 all month long. So on a 4th down. In the first half, the Eagles were going for it on 4th down, including that 4th down with 23 seconds left in the first half. They were unable to convert, and less than 15 seconds later, the Giants were in the end zone. Picks in a fair catch at the 12. Still a 3-point Chicago lead in Detroit. Giants in front big here at home. Oh, you never know. Trent Edwards, who's not played the entire year, getting loose on a sideline. Michael Vick appears to be okay sitting over there. 1:15 to go in the third. And this is Ahmad Bradshaw. And maybe a half-yard pickup.
New York Giants have a lot to get done here. I know they're up 35-7, but you know, regardless of what they say, they're not. They're watching the scoreboard. Chicago's up 23-17, but on the idea that they're going to continue on, they want to finish this game strong the way they started it. Good inside running game, the play action fake down the field. You don't want to all of a sudden start seeing penalties, drop passes, the lack of focus that some has caught them a little bit over the last month.
Pitch to Bradshaw, back to the inside, leapfrogs a defender, and is very close to a first down. Brian, as a head coach, did you ever catch yourself really trying to sell something you don't believe? Like going to a team in these final seconds of the third, and we're going to have you address this when we begin the 4th quarter. But as a coach, to look at your team and say, come on, guys, we got to finish strong. And for them, A, for you to believe it, B, do they believe it? So that's the end of the third, 35-7. Looking forward to hearing from Brian about that topic and those topics and many others in the 4th. Fox NFL Sunday continues in a moment. Bears capitalize on a fumble and took a field goal. So 1:49 left in Detroit. And Chicago a 6-point lead over the Lions. I mean, it's about as simple as it gets. The Giants are rolling big here as the 4th quarter is underway. But if the Bears win that game, the Giants will not have the chance to defend their Super Bowl title looking ahead to next week. They need a win in this game. Losses by Chicago, Minnesota, which is coming up next on Fox against Green Bay. That's in Minnesota. And then a loss or a tie by the Cowboys tonight against Washington. It's the only way the Giants get in.
Go down, set. Hey, alert. Got it right. On the hop. Come on, set.
Bradshaw wrapped up by Colt McCoy, and we check in with another game break back in Los Angeles.
All right, Tom, yeah, that's right. The Lions had an opportunity right here to take the lead, but no, they cough it up. LeSure, Stafford can't handle it. The handoff, Major Wright recovers. The Bears get a field goal and lead 23-17. Detroit with the ball in the third quarter. Tom, it's Billick, back to you.
There's a news flash, a turnover by the Chicago Bears coming up with turnover. They lead the league in turnovers, and obviously still the strength of that Bear team is generating turnovers.
You and I saw them early in the year, and we asked a question at the time, and who knows, they might end up winning a Super Bowl. As Hickson got tangled up with a defender, Asamoah was back there. So too was Kurt Coleman.
And I think they're going to get Asamoah here on kind of a double move. Hesitates, then goes, and he reaches out and grabs. Typically that'll happen when you face a double move. It's what's odd is that it's like Asamoah didn't know that Coleman was going to be over the
Pass
top.
interference, defense, number 24, automatic first down.
It's like he didn't anticipate the help over the top. If you're one-on-one, yeah, maybe you have to reach up and grab him, but when the safety's going to cover you over the top there, I don't know that you need to put your hands on the guy.
So first down for the Giants on their own 43-yard line. Eli dropping back, looking down the field for Bennett. Good coverage down there by Kurt Coleman. Coleman looking for a flag that time. Bennett ran right over him. Getting back to Chicago for a minute, Brian, you and I had them down in Tennessee. They were setting the world on fire with a great defense, all the turnovers, returning interceptions and fumbles for touchdowns. And you know, you wondered openly at the time, can you really live like that over a 16-week season?
And yeah, you can get the turnovers, and they've continued to do it. The problem is they haven't been able to capitalize on it as much offensively. They're kind of a one-trick pony with Brandon Marshall. Forte's been hurt, I get that, but the offensive line has been in flux. But they're so one-dimensional offensively, that's what's hurt them.
Second down run to pick up maybe a loss of a half yard there by Bradshaw. Big day for Manning. 4 touchdowns, over 200 yards on only 20 attempts. Bradshaw, very good. Cruz another touchdown. He's on his way to the Pro Bowl. Detroit got the ball back following the field goal. 3 and out. And they just come to the end of the third quarter in Detroit. Pretty shifty moves there by Bradshaw. Colt Anderson wrapped him up, but Bradshaw drags him another yard. That's an 11-yard pickup and a first down.
Nice move by Bradshaw. Watch here on the left, kind of a low snap, and he hesitates. This thing's dead. This thing should be a loss, but he hesitates, jump cuts to the side, and then shows some speed and power. Got to look at the way he covers up the ball. Bradshaw, McCoy, we're seeing some pretty good backs in this league today. Both have dealt with injuries. Bradshaw has been nursing a leg injury, a foot injury for a long time. McCoy just returning last week against the Redskins.
Bradshaw, 4, maybe 5 more yards to his total. You know, you look back on Bradshaw, and he started the year as the guy. You brought up earlier, no more Brandon Jacobs around, and got off to a rather slow start in the running game. In week 2, he injured his neck, was inactive against Carolina, came back against Philly, only had 40 yards. That was in week 4. But then in the next 2 games, remember, 57 carries in 2 games for Bradshaw for well over 300 yards. That was against Cleveland, and then the route out in San Francisco. It was then that some of those foot problems from the past returned here in 2012. Since has had that sprained knee. Wilson wrapping up that football. You see some of that speed. He was able to turn the corner. And that's another giant first down.
Offensive line is doing a great job. And again, we talked about getting David Boss and Chris Snee. Here Snee pulls off, getting downhill. Nice job on the edge, blocking by Pasco. And this is what we're talking about. This league is all about two backs, right? Everybody has a two-back combination, the Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside. Not that David Wilson's strictly an outside guy, but he gives you that little bit of a bounce to the outside, along with good physical inside running presence to go with Bradshaw.
Timeout. 10:31 to play in the Meadowlands. Giants trying to tie a ribbon around this season with 9 wins. Will it be enough to get in?
Fascinating to me. It's all about the matchups. I mean, you can rate the team saying this team's better than that team, which is very hard. It really is about who's matching up with whom and what's that path. You could have a team that just actually matches up well. I'm not saying they're not the best team in the league, but the path matches well for who they play. It's fascinating to see how this thing's going to play out.
Wilson dropped 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Antonio Dixon just signed this week, the first guy there. Meanwhile, standing over on the sideline, it doesn't appear to be hurt, Nnamdi Asomugha.
It's been a topic of conversation in Philadelphia. Obviously a highly coveted signing, along with getting Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie in the trade with the Arizona Cardinals. And neither one of them has really lived up to the billing when they came in to Philadelphia. It's certainly they're not the only ones responsible for the fall off, but that's where a lot of the focus has been.
That was sniffed out beautifully. There's a penalty flag down on the play. It's a nice play by Brandon Graham, who's really come on strong. Now that he's healthy and getting a chance to play, he's been one of the bright spots for this Eagles defense.
He has, and he played that one beautifully. We saw him last week do the same thing against a shuffle pass, recognizing what it is and showing great reaction to jump inside.
Illegal use of the hands to the face defense, number 72.
Cedric Thornton. I started to get back to you. You'll take a look at it here. There it is, just ripping the helmet off of Snee.
Illegal use of the hands, defense number 72. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down. About
saying to your team, you know, hey, we got to finish strong, and you know, you got a 35-7 lead, and Brian, were there ever times when you know you were just trying to sell them something and maybe some of them weren't buying it?
You know what, a pro player, the most coveted thing he wants to be called is a professional. That really is important to him. And so that's what you got to tap into. You've got to define, what does that mean to you then? What is a professional? And that means just in these situations that you continue to be just that, a professional. It doesn't mean just game day. It means during the week, in the film room, at practice. Are you being a professional? Because they all want to think of themselves in that capacity.
Wilson breaks a couple of tackles and very close to another first down. That's one of the reasons, as you and I have gotten to know each other over these last 5 years, you have never bought into the idea when, and I'm stunned quite honestly, when some people charge anybody or any athlete in this case as a quitter.
Yeah.
You've never bought into that.
I don't. I just get irritated when I hear so many people say, well, that team quit. I don't know that I've ever seen that. Now, what I have seen is a team and individuals who don't put the prerequisite emotion and focus into their preparation, and in game times, it's not like they don't want to play well, but this is the NFL. If you don't step on that field at your best every single play, emotionally, intellectually, mentally, then you're going to look bad. You're going to look like you've quit.
Well,
the want is there.
If you're not, though, I think it's a fair question. If you're not prepared, all those ways you just talked about, to 100% maximum, are you then not quitting?
No, that's just not being a professional.
Okay.
That's not understanding what it takes to be a professional in this league. The want may be there. We're talking about the observation that a guy just says, hey, I'm turning it down. I don't want it.
Right.
I'm protecting myself to next year. You know, it's all about me. That's a totally different dynamic than not being professional enough to push yourself through difficult situations.
First down, Bradshaw, and he will be denied the end zone. They're going to blow it dead right there. Boy, he wanted it, didn't he? Oh, he won
Here we
it.
go. Yeah.
And now Bennett, Brandon Graham, among others, shoving, talking. They've carried that into the end zone.
And this is the frustration of both teams. Philadelphia for obvious reasons and all that's coming along. New York wondering if indeed Chicago's going to be able to falter at Detroit. Chicago's up 26-17 right now. And now this just turns into an Australian rule scrum. Who's pushing it? They're trying to strip it. New York's trying to push them in. A lot of motion in this game.
Oh, is this going to be Hynoski? His first career touchdown! They call it Rhinoceros. And Hynoski lives up to that nickname with his first touchdown. He's been wanting that thing all year long, and they finally got it for him.
He earned it today. In that first half, every great one we talked about began with Hynoski. We talked about him getting on the edges and leading up for the running back. That's just reward for a guy that does a lot of the dirty work all day long.
Oh, that is great stuff. I know the Eagle fans don't want to hear it, but we've seen a number of these Giants games. This is a great kid. Went to Pitt, college free agent. Nobody drafted him. They've given him a couple of these chances this year, and he was denied the goal line twice, not denied this time. It's under review.
Oh, if they take this back away.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a touchdown.
First career touchdown for Henry Hynoski.
And you can see he's got possession. The right foot was there first, the left foot. The ball crosses the plane. Touchdown first. now this is good. How long has he practiced this? He hasn't had this opportunity. This is years in the making.
Oh, you gotta love it. I mean, you know, there are some touchdown dances, you know, they're tired. And it's showboating. This guy's nicknamed Rhinoceros. Nothing tired about that. Check him out. Eli Manning, first time in his career, he's thrown 5 touchdown passes in a game.
And keep in mind,
42-7.
I understand where the Eagles are and where the Giants are right now, but this Giant team has struggled against these Eagles. I don't care what the situation is. This is going to feel good for the New York Giants to get a little bit of that monkey off their back that they can't beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
Eagles have won, including a playoff win, 5 straight games here in the Meadowlands. Big return brought up to the 38-yard line. Let's check into Los Angeles for a game break.
Tom, thanks. Chicago, Detroit, Bears, they need to win, and Minnesota loses. Of course, Cutler to Marshall, but it's broken up by Chris Houston. Would lead to this, a field goal by Olindo Mare, 26-17 now. Bears, Giants fans, stay optimistic. Only down 9 is Detroit, and they have the ball. Tom, Coach Bill.
All right, thank you much, Patrick. And you can look at Trent Edwards. His 5th year out of Stanford. Spent time in Buffalo, of course, his first 3 years in the league. Finished 2 years ago with Jacksonville. Trent Edwards did not play at all last year, as Corey Webster is hurt, trying to get back up. Reaching for that left shin, left calf area, it appears. So we'll step out as they take a look at Corey Webster. Final 6.5 minutes from the Meadowlands. All Giants needing a win and needing help. They're winning big, but not getting help from Detroit. With 8 minutes left to go in that one, and the Lions trailing the Bears by 9. Michael Vick, you know the story. After spending time in jail on the dogfighting charges, leaving Atlanta, signed with Philadelphia in 2009, was a backup that first year. 2 games into the 2010 year, Kevin Cobb got hurt. Andy Reid hitched his wagon to Vick. never looked back, took them to the playoffs that year. But ever since then, 12-22 are these Eagles. Have we seen Michael Vick in an Eagles uniform for the final time? They owe him on the books $15 million, but if they turn him loose 3 days after the Super Bowl, they would owe him $3 million. They could get it down to none, depending on whether or not they traded him. But all that's just minutia. Do you think another team is going to take a chance on maybe making a deal for Michael Vick to be their starter?
Well, there's going to be a ton of changes in the coaching profession over the next week or two, and typically it's going to be tied to the quarterback position. The question becomes, what are your options if you want to go the free agent route at quarterback? You're talking about a Michael Vick. You're talking about maybe a Mark Sanchez. Maybe you're talking about an Alex Smith. And Michael Vick today, you can see here, under considerable pressure, starts out with an interception. Then again, under pressure, gets knocked to the ground, not able to convert on third down. Lots of pressure coming from the outside. Another sack, having to roll out with nothing down the field on what amounted to a coverage sack and having to dirt the ball there. This was not the day Michael and Vick envisioned in having his one opportunity to display his skills to the rest of the league to say, yes, I can be one of those free agents you want to sign in the offseason.
Well, today, I think we all agree, is a bit of a stretch to use as an example on whether or not he can continue to play. Do you believe, based on what we saw early in the year, that Vick could still be a starter for an NFL team?
Well, I go back to what are the other options? You know, obviously it does, you know, not based on the injuries. You can see right here now, this is getting really interesting. 26-23 with the Lions able to get the extra point is good. It's now a 2-point lead by the Chicago Bears. So this crowd here, the remaining crowd with the Giants fans, it's going to get real interesting as that gets displayed here at the scoreboard.
So a stop on fourth down by Jason Pierre-Paul. And the Giants will get it back, trying to put this thing on ice. 42-7. The day is over for Eli Manning.
He's auditioning for a mannequin's job on Fifth Avenue.
That's pretty good work if you get it.
Yeah.
We're going to quickly check on the touchdown scored by the Lions. Let's go back to Los Angeles.
Yeah, you mentioned the score there, Tom. Here's how it happened. Matthew Stafford getting hot late. Howie mentioned it down the stretch. He can do this. Hooks up with Brian Robisky on the score. Pulls them to within 2, 26-24. Less than 7 minutes to go. You know the playoff scenario. An important game for Giant fans. Tom and Brian.
Brian Robisky, former Buckeye, on the touchdown reception. 5 touchdowns today. First time ever in a game for Eli Manning. So David Carr, who's only played in one game, will take over for him.
Tom, let me finish my thought on Michael Vick and the free agency. Can Michael Vick be a starter in the NFL? Yeah, but the formula for the NFL right now, I wrote about it on FoxSports.com this week. The formula is if you make that coaching change, you go out and draft a guy. You talk about John Harbaugh and Joe Flacco, Mike Smith and Matt Ryan. Now, you better get the right guy because you're also talking about a Rex Ryan moving up into the 5th pick of the draft to get a Mark Sanchez. But that is what the organizations that consistently put together a winning profile do. And getting a free agency quarterback with one's light questions around him, like a Michael Vick, a Mark Sanchez, that has not been the formula for success.
First down catch made by Martellus Bennett. All right, meanwhile, it's as they have an injured Giant down on the field. That's Bennett after the catch. And he'll get up. Listen to this hit. That was Jernigan getting tied up over there with DeMeco Ryans. Oh, what a hit that was. Down to the final 2 minutes. Will it be the final 2 minutes in Philadelphia for Andy Reid as head coach? Giants are winning big, but you know the scenario. And the only other game they can worry about right now is the one taking place in Detroit. 5 minutes left to go. Chicago a 2-point lead. And now in victory formation. Andy Reid, October the 10th of 1999. Got his first win as head coach in his 5th game when Doug Peterson found Charles Johnson with a minute left to beat the Dallas Cowboys. The divisional playoff against Green Bay in 2003 on the 4th and 26. Donovan McNabb to Freddie Mitchell. David Akers a game winner. The 04 NFC Championship against Atlanta. Eagles beat the Falcons 27-10, their only Super Bowl appearance under Andy Reid. It's never done until it's done. A lot of people saying, well, no kidding, but it's not finished yet that he has been relieved of his duties. He is scheduled to meet with Jeffrey Lurie tomorrow. Many of you will get bonus coverage of the Lions and the Bears, the wrap-up of their game. He's had a really good run at it in Philadelphia.
Well, Andy Reid and I were hired in the same year, 1999. There have been 104 head coaching changes in that time.
Wow.
That's what this league is about. You know, teams are living, breathing entities, and you go through an evolution. Andy Reid's had an incredible run in Philadelphia, but sometimes that change is inevitable, and obviously losing 42-7 against your division rival in New York, they'll make those decisions accordingly. A lot of changes likely to happen this week in the National Football League.
So now Andy Reid will make the walk across the field for perhaps the final time as head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles after 14 years on the job. A big hug for his rival, but tremendous respect. Between Andy Reid and Tom Coughlin. I would imagine Tom Coughlin will be sitting around and wondering about the conclusion of Chicago-Detroit. We're going to bring it to you. First we go back to Los Angeles to Kurt. Happy New Year, everybody.